Welcome. We're glad that you can join us today for the NTTV 4 News at noon from the University of North Texas. I'm Michael Dixon.
And I'm Sean Miller. It's such a beautiful day today in Denton, a much needed change from the rain and severe weather we've been experiencing during the last few weeks.
You're so right. I can't even complain about the humidity, the heat index, but today I'm just happy to see the sun.
Today's top stories: UNT researchers will soon receive millions of dollars in awards to study the effects of oil spills on the Gulf of Mexico ecosystem.
And the UNT Autism Conference shares techniques to improve success at school, home, and beyond. But first, Denton is renowned for its vibrant music scene. Reporter Sean Miller gives us the 411 on the backbone of Denton, Texas.
We're here with Sterling Smith today, an economics major at the University of North Texas. He's also a local music enthusiast. Sterling, what do you think of the local showcases here?
It's a good opportunity for local talent to get their name out there and really get exposure. One of the first things you think about whenever you hear Denton, among other things, is the music scene. We've got such a rich history of music here. UNT Music School alumni include Roy Orbison, Don Henley of the Eagles, Nora Jones, and it's really the lifeblood of Denton. It's just Denton wouldn't be Denton without the thriving local music scene we have here.
And how do you think that adds to the culture of Denton? How does the local music make Denton just such culturally rich?
I mean, you've got such a wide variety of music here. You've got everything from funk, jazz, with the 1 o'clock jazz band or jazz lab band. You've got metal, you've got rap. I mean, it's really all encompassing here, and it's not something that's easy to find. It's just a very unique thing that, it's very much unique to Denton in the way that it's so inclusive and just well-rounded.
We'll be back in 30 seconds to learn for the first time what can make you healthy, wealthy, and maybe just a little bit wiser. Welcome. We're glad that you can join us today for the NTTV4 News at noon from the University of North Texas. I'm Sean Miller.
And I'm Michael Dixon. It's such a beautiful day today in Denton, a much needed change from the rain and severe weather we have been experiencing during the last few weeks.
You are so right. I can't even complain about the humidity and heat index today. I'm just happy to see the sun.
Today's top stories: UNT researchers will soon receive millions of dollars in awards to study the effects of oil spills on the Gulf of Mexico's ecosystem.
And the UNT Autism Conference shares techniques to improve success at school, home, and beyond. But first, we all know how much all the men and women of the armed forces have sacrificed for our country. Reporter Michael Dixon takes a look at how the University of North Texas makes a difference in their lives.
I'm standing in front of Sage Hall at the University of North Texas, where 2,700 veterans walk through these doors to a one-stop shop and a place that they can call home.
This is a one-stop shop, and it's really a pattern after the military, because when you go in the military, years ago when I joined a long time ago, you would go on post and you was basically lost. You had to run around posts and learn the post while you were in process, and the military came at what they call a one-stop shop. And that's what this is patterned after, a one-stop shop. When you come in here, you have the registrars, VA certification people here, the student accountant, personnel here who handle the Hazelwood state benefits, and then of course you have my portion, the student affairs, which we handle the students and their barriers and their well-being, whatever services they may need. We have between 2,700 and roughly 2,800 veterans and dependents who are self-identified. I would say probably around 2,700-ish. We are with the National Honor Society called Salute. Now we also have student veteran peer mentors here who can help assist them and say if they're just moving into the area. We have a wonderful study room lab and a computer lab. I'm very proud of the computer lab. It's state of the art. We have 5 computers. We have tables where you can use tablets and laptops. And it's a place where veterans come to use computers, study. and congregate. I hear sometimes them down there telling war stories and laughing and having a good time. I'm especially proud of that. And I have a veteran concept.
After getting the proper paperwork in place, veterans have a green light for the next semester. Drop in and say hello to your local veterans. You never know, you might get a goodie bag yourself. This is Michael Dixon reporting from Sage Hall, University North Texas, and TTV News. We'll be back in 30 seconds to learn for the first time what can make you healthy, wealthy, and maybe just a little bit wiser. Welcome back to the NTTV News at Noon. I'm Michael Dixon, sitting here with Sean Miller, talking about how college stress affects the students and how to deal with it. How you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on set, Mike.
All right, so we all know that college can bring in a lot of issues dealing with stress. And personally for me, it's the commute to work. How has commuting affected your college experience?
Well, the commute to work isn't really my biggest issue. I actually don't live on campus, as most people do. So my commute is from home to school. And that really has a huge impact on especially stress, with not only stress, but with the campus life as well. You know, because I live so far away, not only do I have to make sure that I have time to get to class, and also to leave class so I can get home, get to work, get to whatever I need to do, but it takes away from a lot of the fun things that could happen. You know, most people, they live down the street. They can just go to an event, go home, call the day, get up, go to school. So obviously when you commute and you live far away, you have to make sure that everything you do in that day is planned out to a T. Otherwise, you can run into a whole mess of things, you know, stuff like traffic, accidents. There's a multitude of things. Probably one of the worst things I've ever experienced while commuting that has made stress levels terribly high was getting a flat tire. There's nothing worse than getting a flat tire on your commute. So
You briefly spoke about doing fun things and having those being jeopardized. So how has your social life changed since becoming a college student?
Well, I have very close friends. The friends that I've had, we all live where I live, away from campus. So we've all been friends pretty much our entire lives. That's my main social group. However, I feel like something that would help out quite a bit with school stress would be having friends up here. So it's a little bit harder to keep contact when you live so far away, because it's such a, you know, you have to plan around things, and it's such a huge thing to try and make time to come up here, you know, to make friends. And, you know, another thing too is when you live on campus, you can, you know, hang out and again, go to those activities and meet people. And, you know, they probably just live down the street from you. Give them a call, text, say, hey, what up? Let's go meet at the bar, you know? But in my position, having to live so far away, it's really hard to keep contacts up here and you know, just develop those friendships when you see them so few.
So what is it like to work and go to school and to deal with the stress?
It's absolutely terrifying. It is probably the biggest obstacle I've ever come across in my life. You know, it's just, again, your schedule is so tight, and you have to make sure everything's planned out that day. Otherwise, you miss one beat in that day, and it's done, you know? And again, that ties into commuting. So, you know, my usual day is wake up, go to school. You know, I gotta wake up an hour before school, get up here, make sure that I can get out on time, even especially days when you have projects you need to stay after.
So what would be the most valuable advice that you could give to an incoming student?
Most valuable advice that I would give to an incoming student, well, if they can live on campus, that would probably be my biggest advice. But really, just to keep your friends closer, and as well as your teachers.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming by and talking with us today. This has been Michael Dixon with the NTTV News, and now for a short break.
Welcome back. I'm Sean Miller with NTTV News at noon. We're here with Michael Dixon today just to talk about how stress and school combined can really take a toll on someone's life. So we're going to go ahead and ask Michael some questions just to find out really what happens. How you doing, Mike?
I'm all right. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on set. So what would you say is the most stressful moment? What has been the most stressful moment with your time at school?
The most stressful moment, I would have to say, is from when I transferred from a 2-year school to here and not having the proper classes set in place. It became really overwhelming because I had to go through the VA, I had to go through the whole transfer process, and it just became too much to handle. And then finally somebody was just like, hey, it's all right, you're gonna get through it. And sure enough, it did. I took a deep breath and here I am now.
So you talked about how you're talking to the VA and all these advisors. What would you say is the best way that you coped with stress in that situation?
Getting my paychecks on time. It gets kind of stressful because that's how us veterans kind of survive, is by going to school. It ensures us that we don't really have to take on a really hard job or a lot of hours, so we get to focus on our school, which does relieve stress in that way as well.
Yeah, that's very important. Now, you mentioned that you work and go to school at the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
How has that affected your time at school?
Well, when I first started working, I was just a part-time associate, and I started, coming out of my shell more and more at work, and I got promoted. And when I got promoted, meant more hours, and so my studies, balancing the two, got really hard. And so now all I have to do is just stay on a routine and go day by day and step by step.
Okay. What would you say is I'd say the best way or the best advice that you might give to incoming students or even incoming veterans as well?
For the students, keep a good attitude and become an autonomous learner. Don't rely on everybody kind of babying you through each step. It's not your teacher's job to pull you through it. It's also your job to, make sure you're doing everything that you need to be doing. And for the veterans, stay positive, stay motivated.
Well, Mike, we're thankful for your service, and we're thankful that you could be here today with us on set. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in 30 seconds.
We just learned that an accident involving an 18-wheeler and a pickup truck pulling a trailer happened moments ago on the northbound lanes of I-30 East at the Fort Worth exit. This 1-mile section on both the north and the southbound sides of I-30 East has closed. Denton police report that the tractor trailer spilled 200 pounds of recycled materials onto the highway's access roads. Hazardous material teams are on their way to assess the spill. We will be following this story closely as it unfolds. Watch the bottom of your TV screens for further details as they come in. And be sure to follow the events on our website at nttv4u.com. I'm Michael Dixon. Thank you for joining us today on NTTV 4 News at Noon.